Off in God's Country with Reid
and Dan Isbell,
also known as the Brothers Hunt, where we take a weekly drive to the intersection of country music and the outdoors. Two things that go together like a crow and a mockingbird.
or an arrowhead in the riverbank.
Produced by MeatEater and iHeart Podcast.
So hop on up and ride shotgun with us as we take the back roads with some of the biggest stars and creators of the songs you know and love.
On today's episode, we're going to sit down with our buddy, Michael Hard Rock Hardy. And the conversation went so long and was so much fun and so good that we ended up cutting into we all had co-writes and had to be there
By 11.
And we kind of went to like 11:15. So we're in different clothes. We're recording this intro a day later. But man, what an interesting cat he is, man.
Dude, that guy is, it keeps thematically happening. We got some really great people on this podcast.
No doubt. And I think that's the cool thing about this podcast is like you're getting an insight into his life.
But it's also an insight for me too. Like I know these people. I mean, we know these people, and then we're learning more and more about them every time we have an episode,
Yeah, you're gonna want to listen to this one, man. There's some cool stories in there. There's some
funny
spooky stories in there. They're spooky. But we hope you enjoy it, and thanks for hanging out with us.
Camo wrap looks good.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Hardy flies, dude.
What? Let's get into it, dude. Let's get into it. Are we recording?
Hang on.
Wait, no, we're in it. We're already in it. We just a new term has just been dealt to us that I've never. Hang on, quit talking.
I
over
was
me.
looking at the.
This
pattern.
is something we got to work on.
No, I'm just saying. I was looking at the pattern when I came in.
Yeah, I didn't know what it
what
was.
is that? Is that mossy? Is that real tree? And I couldn't see, but now you're telling me it's Hardy.
We've got a truck. We've got an F-150,
dude.
in the parking lot.
Yeah,
with a custom camo.
It looks good.
It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, it looks good.
He's also got what mums? You got two mums, and I saw those mums in the back of the truck, and I was like, "What's up, brother?" He's like, "What's up, dude?" I was like, "You're just cleaning up your Thanksgiving decorations."
Yo,
like,
you
that's
literally
exactly
said front porch, and that's exactly where they came from. I got a black garbage bag full of pumpkins.
Yeah, dude.
Back there. You nailed it.
My
mind was blown.
I just did it too.
I just did it too, like last week, and put up the lights. We need more lights,
dude.
So
You know what is a pain in the ass is moving pumpkins. Because there's no structure to pumpkins, dude. And if
they've been rained on?
For some reason, I don't have a wheelbarrow at my house.
You seem like
Callie went nuts on the pumpkins.
Yeah, you seem like a guy that have a wheelbarrow.
I did at my old house, and I guess I left it there. Dude, I'm living up in a neighborhood now.
I know you are, dude.
I got a dude cutting my own grass.
I try to tell you, man.
That's ridiculous.
I try to tell you. See, you know how hard my getting rid of this is so red, dude. Like you can't help but tell how red this is, dude. So all I did was take the pumpkins, literally pick them up and bowl them, and they bowled off the driveway, out across my driveway into the pasture, and rolled over. And the donkey's eating them.
I was gonna say the squirrels or the rats. There you go.
I did the same thing with the corn. And this is an interesting story about my son. I got a 4-year-old that's like kind of wild and 4, and then I have a 1-year-old that is just like this, dude.
Really?
Don't give a shit about me.
He'll growl at you, dude. Like he'll be like,
doesn't speak. All he does is like go, like he is.
It says tractor.
Dude, he says mama, dada, tractor, and growls.
Dude, that's so bro. Redneck. I
dude,
love
this
it.
kid.
Oh my god,
he's got two teeth that are one tooth. We call it the Galuth tooth. Right here.
My god,
I'm telling you,
it looks like a bench seat. It's a cross there.
He is going to give me a run,
dude.
Right? I
love it.
So we're tearing off. I'm coming back to why I'm actually telling the story. So we're tearing the corn off the stalks and throwing it out into the field for the donkey. And I don't know if a deer wants to come eat it, whatever. And we're just kind of throwing it out there. And we go back to get more stalks. And I turn around, and this dude has gone under the barbed wire, is about 20 yards on the other side of the fence with the dang donkey walking right at him. And Cheyenne's like, she's on the front porch. And she was like, "Oh my God, Dad, get Boone."
Oh my God.
Dude, you think about it. I mean, nothing happened. He came back and everything's fine.
I don't think
But donkeys are literally for like killing coyotes and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
they're mean. And you think about a human this big growling at you.
Oh my God.
You know, he was growling at the donkey. Dude. I'll tell you, man, we're already into kids, but bro, make sure you want them.
Yeah, what
That's what everybody says, man.
No, I'm not prying. I'm just saying, make sure you want them.
Well, you got married when?
A little over a year ago.
Okay.
And we're thinking about it. Callie's a little bit younger than me,
That's
so
right.
she wants to travel a little bit more. And I totally get that. When I was her age, I wasn't even thinking about anything life plans.
No doubt.
So I completely respect it, and we got time. I was like, let's do it. Let's
You
wait
got
a little
tons
bit.
of time.
The only thing is,
Wait, how old are you?
33.
Oh, bro, a pup. You got tons of time.
We just all of our kids, like Hunter Phelps is one of my best friends, and like McNair and all my friends back home got kids in like middle school. Dude,
Same.
you know what I mean?
No, yeah, them small town
It's
kids been
different-
growing
it's
up for a
different down
minute.
there.
No,
Yeah.
we're all late. Like I mean, Reid just had 2. I had 1. Well, I've got 2, but I mean, me, him, and Luke all had kids at the same time.
Yeah.
And McNair. Like they all kind of came in the same little window, right?
Yeah.
So which feels late, but it's not.
It does, and I think I made the joke.
It's
I'm
not,
like,
though.
we're gonna wait till everybody has their second round of kids, and then we're gonna have our first.
I think with me and McNair actually talked about this yesterday. We wrote, I think with our industry and with our career, like it takes a little longer to get where you want to be
No
financially or
Yeah.
status wise or kind of like locked in, and you have to devote, man, the amount of time and energy that you have to devote to this thing as an artist for sure, but even as a songwriter, like you don't have. I mean, you don't have time. Like you,
and you
people
want to make
it-
sure your ducks are in a row too.
Yeah, man,
right?
and people make it work, and people have kids way before they move into town, and they make it work. But I think if you move here with the intention of like, if you're a single dude moving here with the intention of trying to get your career off the ground as a songwriter or an artist, man, like marriage and kids is kind of not on the forefront of your mind.
Yeah, definitely.
So I was the same boat. I mean, me and Jordan didn't get married till I was 33, and then we had our first kid. I was 35 or 34.
Yeah,
and,
so we're probably gonna be on that timeline.
yeah.
I mean, that's where I was. Same exact.
Go ahead and
timeline.
get you. Go ahead and just get it quick and get 202 and get some of that life, bro.
Oh man, I think I'm good on that.
Get some of that 202 life, big dog.
Callie wants 4.
Come on with
I'm
it.
like-
Hey, that's what I want. That's what I want.
Yeah.
We're at 2, and but I come from a big family. You got a sister, don't you?
I have one sister. Yeah. So it was just. Do y'all have other siblings?
2
We're
sisters.
bookended by
Oh,
girls.
y'all have 4.
Yeah.
No.
No way.
All 4 years apart. So like my sister,
Oh wow.
4 years Dan, 4 years me. 4
So there's
years
12 years difference between.
Yep.
Wow.
Our baby
Bless
sister
my
just-
mama.
Our baby sister just met Ernest the other day. She said,
Oh,
it
my
was
God.
so hilarious because she was like, "Hey, I think you know my brothers," and he was like, "What?" I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
She was like, "Yeah, Dan and Reid Isbell." And she said he went, "No way," and he was like, "Yeah."
Where was it?
He plays, this is really random, but she works down here, and he played at some little or it was at the Truist building right here. He played, I don't know, he played something, and she was there, and he played. I think he played Tennessee Queen or something. She was like, "Hey, my brother wrote that." He was like, "No, he didn't." He was like, "Yeah." His name was Dan Isbell. He was like, "Oh yeah, hell yeah, he did."
If he didn't play that was a nice little plug
Yeah.
For
that's
what?
nice.
for your tune. That was a-
Oh
that was a
yeah,
good
yeah.
little-
Go stream Spotify.
That's awesome.
Download right now.
All right, so we could buddy this thing to death.
Oh, we didn't even say who he is.
We've got to my left a good buddy, a fellow Mississippian, a dog in the house today.
He got that dog in him.
We got
Yes, sir.
Michael Hardy on the couch. Dude, we've podcasted before. This
Yeah.
is in a
Dude,
ways back. when
Probably
we were,
5 years ago.
Hey man, we were nothing
oh, dude.
then. Not that we're anything now, but
I was about to say it's a
gracias.
little bit more legit.
Dude, this is
Gracias.
big time.
The
dude.
lighting is
Oh my
actually
God.
right. Yeah. I
This
told
is
him
insane.
last time I called a buddy and I was like, "Hey, bro, we're gonna podcast with Hardy, and I don't know how to set up microphone stuff. Can you record 3 dudes?" And he's like, "Yeah, man." I was like, "All right, well, I'm just
we
gonna tell you
went
to
his
come to your
apartment.
house."
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Man, well, I'm good. It's good to be back, dude.
Yeah, good to see
I'm
It's
you.
good to
so
be
glad
back.
y'all are doing this.
I
again.
know
I've been
you've been
begging y'all to
pushing
do
for this. You've been pushing for
I
this for a
listened
minute.
last year. I listened to every single podcast over again in the deer stand, and then when I finished, I was like sad because I was like, "Damn."
We're back, bro.
Fully back.
We're back,
dude.
yeah.
Jameson, Rogers actually shot a deer listening to our podcast.
Did he?
You gotta ask him about it. It's
It
pretty.
was probably a 6 point.
Oh,
Probably.
Probably,
Probably
6 point.
6 point killer. Speaking of 6 points,
Oh,
last time I saw you, I said, "Hey man,
Oh,
I'm gonna kill a deer
yes.
tomorrow morning,"
dude.
and I killed that deer the
You
next
did,
morning.
dude. After the BMI awards, I don't even know how you did that.
Yeah. Oh well, honestly,
because I'd have killed him if he didn't go.
Reid would have murdered me.
That's the only deer that we've had on camera that is like, that was the guy, man.
Did you
know.
score him?
No, I haven't, but I would have. I mean,
You think he's 120 with that drop time?
I do.
That's sick.
But he's the sickest 120. Like when you say 120, they're like, oh, this was.
Oh, we're talking about a 6 point.
Dude, this is a 6 point with a
we're not
7
talking
inch.
about like a
With a
back
7-inch drop, kind of 2 drops on both sides.
Yes.
This deer is 6 years old, dude. He was the man.
That's so sick.
he's the
It
dude.
was, man. It was a
Dan got to see him be the man too down there in the bottom.
literally.
Was he running? Was he chasing?
So I'll just set the story up. So I've had this deer.
Don't talk for 35 minutes. You're looking at Grace because it's a true thing. She's laughing over there because she knows.
I told one hunt story
For 45 minutes. This is an hour. This is an
podcast.
hour podcast,
bro. They
bro.
asked me to do it though.
All right,
it wasn't like,
go.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
So I've been seeing this deer. So I bought my place, acquired some acreage that backs up to it, and I've been watching this deer that was just a clean 6. But he was, even as a 2-year-old, it was high, and I was like, man, that's a cool deer. I hope he makes it. Well,
Yeah.
nobody out there wants to shoot a 6 point. They want to shoot something bigger. So he just kept getting past, which is awesome. I saw him the next year, and the next year, and the next year, and
He stayed a 6.
he stayed a 6.
I don't
He
think
just-
people in that area. Sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
I don't think people in that area knew how special that deer was, man.
No, which is
I think
fine.
they looked at him and saw a 6 point,
Right.
but didn't see a 5-year-old 6 point.
Right.
So when I saw him at 5, I found his sheds at 4. We found Cheyenne was walking around,
Which he was
the
a
field.
beast then.
He was a beast at 4. Found him at 5. I had him at 5, like at 80 yards during rifle. And I was like, man, I mean, I was so close to shooting him. But it was like a week before season was out. And I was like, bro, if he'll hang right here and just get one more, dude, he could be something special. Because, a lot of times whitetail, at least in our area, make that jump anywhere from 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7.
You start seeing some cool
You start seeing some cool stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
So the trouble is getting a deer to be that old, right?
Right.
And having enough
Yeah,
property
yeah.
to hold him. So he was staying tight, and I was like, man, I think I can do this. I called Reid, or I FaceTimed him while he was in the field, and I was like, should I let this deer go? And he's like, dude, one more year, just think about,
I'm
And
a one more
truly,
year
he was
guy, man.
right, because
To a
he was
fault,
just a big based, heavy. His 2s, I should have brought I have the sheds actually.
Don't go get him.
Okay, so he probably had 13-inch 2s, but they were, like that.
Yeah.
So I let him go. I didn't shoot him. So I still haven't shot a deer off my property in the 6 years that I've had it. We could start getting trail pictures of him this year. I remember the first trail cam pic, dude. We called each other. We're like, "Is that him? That's got to be him." And he had that drop.
So he had just grown that.
He had just grown that.
And dude,
He
he's trying,
never had anything like that before.
he was the prettiest,
I have the
cleanest
sheds.
6
He was
point.
just clean, just
Dude,
a
that's
clean,
awesome.
heavy 6. And so when he showed up, we
He
started
was
getting
trying to
excited.
drop. Sorry, he was trying to drop one on the other side. He's got like an inch
He
drop.
probably
On.
got like
If he'd have gone one more
Oh
year,
my
which Dan
God.
probably should have passed him this year and let him go
Oh,
one
no,
more.
they'll do that too.
He'd have had a
No
double
chance.
7-inch drop time on a 6
No
point.
chance,
Dude.
dude.
Oh
No
my
chance.
God.
He messed up.
So, I hunted him. He wasn't very. He was just old. Yeah, the only way I know how to explain it. He was so cool, like being an old deer. He would come out preseason. He would come out and eat in my clover plot, in my food plots. But the day season started, nocturnal.
It's a different story with those old deer, man.
Wild,
You have to
man.
hunt those old deer.
I say the
smart
day.
and
It was
not
probably
hard.
it was actually probably a week before season started. He went completely nocturnal.
That dude.
I'm talking about 11 o'clock
Story's
at night.
old as time,
I
dude.
know, right? He would go like 11 o'clock at night, and he might pop in there at 4 or 3:30. But he was never within an hour and a half of sunlight, right? He goes through both. So I don't hunt him. I was like, I'm not pushing this deer. I know he's hanging tight. And he was. We would get night pictures of him. We'd never get any daylight pictures of him. I was out with Luke this year, so I was in Australia getting trail cam pictures of this
Oh my
deer.
God,
Yeah,
dude.
bro. Brutal. So which was actually good though, because I didn't hunt him. I think outside pressure probably pushed him even more on me.
You could just thank me for going out there and hunting this deer without you being here
thank
and,
you.
and helping me, like me helping you keep that deer around
Thanks,
for
man.
you to.
Thanks, dude. So
You're welcome.
always find a way to make it about you. So
You're welcome.
So anyway, I get back. Bow season is wrapping up. I hunted him 2 afternoons. He was starting to get close to daylight. He wasn't in daylight, but he would be like 30 minutes just outside of daylight.
We were starting to get toward rut a little bit.
So we go side our something happened. I didn't hunt him maybe the first week of muzzleloader, or we were gone or something. Anyway, we get back. Me and Reid are sighting in our muzzleloaders.
3:30 in the afternoon.
And he goes, "Oh my God." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "He's standing in your food plot right now." And he was 4:30. He was just standing there eating clover.
Oh my God.
And Reid was like, and we had that cold front. That was the week of the BMIs.
Yeah.
So we had a cold front coming
After that, after the BMIs, because it was still warm.
It was still warm.
Yeah.
It was like 70s. It was supposed to drop into the 30s.
Yeah, I hunted that front a little bit, like one day.
Yeah. It was, did you, I guess you muzzleloaded, or did you bow?
No, crossbow.
Nice.
I was hunting a field.
So I'm like, cold front's coming. Here it comes. Go to the BMIs, kicks in that night. I woke up that morning.
Don't get home till 12:31.
I don't know. It was late.
BMIs are late.
You were the last person I talked to.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
So I got home, went to bed, woke up stinking, smelling like cigarettes and whiskey, and I was like, man, I ain't going. Not because I smoke or drink, just because I was around people that did.
Right.
And I walked outside and I let the dog out. And I might have been peeing off my back porch. I don't know. Might have been standing there, whatever. And the wind hit me from the north perfectly in the face. And I was like, damn, dude, this is perfect. And it was drizzling. I mean,
dude.
It's a big buck morning, man.
It was
Yeah,
bucky
weather
as hell, dude. So I was like, all right, I'm going. Went inside, got my stuff on, stinking, knew I stunk, but it didn't matter. The wind was perfect. I took my cart all the way around, my Polaris all the way around, came in on the opposite end, walked to my stand, 7 o'clock, does come out. I have to be back at 7:30. Shine's got to take my little girl to school at 7:30. So I have to be there with Wild Ass Boone at 7:30.
Golly.
It's 7 o'clock when they come out. At 7:10, they all bump back like that they're all looking in the same direction. I was like, man, something's to my left. And I have an elevated ground blind that I set a couple years back. And I just peeked through this little sliver of a window, and bro, he's on a doe.
Really?
Like, I'm looking at him head on. I see the drop time. He is on a doe's back, dude. And I was like,
Oh,
Mounted.
like for real?
Mounted.
for real.
Being the man down
Being-
there, dude.
That's what he was saying. He was like, you got to
Dang,
see him be
dude.
the man. So I'm like, I feel the drop. I'm trying to chill out. I reach over, get my muzzleloader. I'm coming out the window with it. I'm like, okay, if this doe turns this corner and he follows her, he'll be at 50 perfectly broadside.
Yeah.
Sure enough, she comes up, turns the corner. He comes up behind her. And, he's just like kind of, at that point, he's,
Oh, yeah.
because I mean, he did it. Like, he bred her.
Yeah.
I saw him. I saw the dang pump and everything. So he gets off and he's walking. You tell he's kind of walking. And I was like, dude, I mean, this much of the barrel out the gun window, 50 yards,
Boom.
smoke, dude.
How far do you run?
30 yards.
That's awesome.
But I mean, it couldn't have been more like, there was no, oh my God, he's out of here. Or, I mean, he was on her, dude.
Yeah.
Then that deer falls. Another buck pops out of the trail, same trail, breeds her again. Then another buck popped out of the same trail. I mean, dude.
Oh, so you just had a hot doe.
I had a mega
Dude.
Hot doe changes the game, man.
Yep.
Hot doe is stronger than anything you can plant,
Pour out.
anything you can pour.
No
Dude.
doubt.
If you got that doe, you're
in
gonna have a buck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
That's
in 'em.
amazing.
Yeah,
Good for you, dude. I'm pumped
Did
for
you get your
you.
Mississippi buck?
Nope.
Ain't got him yet.
I got a picture of him.
Oh, the Saga still's going with that,
Yeah,
with
let
that
me show
deer?
I like this saga.
How long
man.
has that been? How long have you been hunting this deer?
3 years.
Come on, dude.
you
This
seen
is
him? I thought he
this
showed
is the
you.
cat and mouse.
He was a 140 as a 3-year-old. I swear to God. He was 140 as a 3-year-old.
This is the cat and
Look at his G2s.
Oh my gosh, what
Yeah,
a
dude.
brute, dude. Look at that. Look at that frame. From Mississippi too.
He's the biggest buck I've ever had on camera anywhere. I saw it. I was hunting in Vicksburg 3 years ago,
Okay, you can say Vicksburg.
and with a buddy of mine, and I got a picture of this deer. We have a feeder across from our deer camp across the pond. That's just kind of a
No, you
we
sent me the
keep
video.
a camera on it. We just it's just enough, and we have a feeder over there, just something to see what's just another spot to see what's what's
Right.
coming through, whatever. And he comes in at 7:30 in the morning and eats corn for like an hour, and I've just got like 10 pictures of him, and I'm over here in Vicksburg, and
Not
I'm
seeing nothing.
no,
Yeah.
and I'm just like,
It's always the case.
and I'd never seen him before, and I was like, I have a giant our deer camp right
And
now.
this was last year?
2 years ago.
2 years.
Anyway, hunted him hard, never saw him. I had a few daylight pictures of him. He would come out during the rut, anything. It was weird. It was really weird. But anyway, we kind of figured out, like, thankfully, my buddy to my right hunts a big piece of property, and he's got cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
We figured out the loop he was making. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And anyway,
It's so good to have neighbors like that.
It is, and he's a good. It's one of those where his name is Dylan, and I've told him, I'm like, if you kill it or if I kill it, I was like, it's a win.
Yeah.
Like,
Totally.
So anyway, nobody ever saw him. Had daylight pictures of him, just wasn't in the right place. Or it was usually when I was gone. Really, what it was is there was a lot. It was always when I'd come back to Nashville and there was no activity out there, no truck doors slamming. You know what I mean? Like no,
he's smart.
Yes.
Old. Yeah.
So then the next year, this is last year, we got him again. He was taller, but he was damn near pencil horned.
Yep, I remember.
You sent us a picture, yeah.
And he'd been coming in like 6:15, 6:30 at night.
But unseasonably hot last year because we were both hunting Mississippi at the same time.
Yeah.
Because we were over in West Point. That's right.
Yep. And I got up at 5:30. There was a north wind, and my buddy said he just left my feeder. He's going to cross your cutover in an hour and a half.
Oh my god!
I got chills thinking about
Me
it.
too.
So I get in the stand, and it's 7:15. It's an overcast day, and it's a cutover that is new, so everything out there is gray. It's the color of a deer.
Yeah, man.
And at like 275 yards, I see a doe kind of just trotting across, and I put my gun out the window. And
Had it been an hour and a half? I mean, was it close?
Around an hour and a half. And I put my gun out there, and there he is, at 275 yards.
25-06?
35 or 30-06. Okay. And I didn't shoot him. I had it on him, and I was just like, it's not going down like this, dude.
I mean, why? Why was it not going
I've never
down?
made that shot before.
Too far.
That's
a long...
Dude,
listen.
good on you, man.
And look, man, everybody from west of the Mississippi is going to be like, 275 ain't shit. But dude, when you are from where we are from...
Dude, you're a hardwood hunter.
Well, I mean, there's not very many 300-yard shots where we live. There's just too many
long
pine trees.
shot.
That's a long shot for us, bro.
Especially if you've never taken it before. Staring down the scope at an animal that you've thought about for the past 2 years, man.
Yeah,
that's,
I knew. I was like, I'm not gonna make an ethical shot.
Hey, that's responsible.
And dude, the thing is I hunt the last hill before the Pearl River swamp, and I was like, if I shoot this deer high, if I hit him bad, he's gone. And you can't even get to him. Yeah. Like you literally, you're crossing creeks, rivers. Like I was like,
good on you, man.
Can't do it.
Good on you. I'm proud of you.
So nobody got him last year, and me and my buddy. Well, and there's a lot of pressure around there, like a ton of pressure. And so every morning, every gunshot we heard, dude, we were like, God, please just crossing our fingers. Yeah. And then season ends, nobody, you don't see anything on Facebook. And sure enough, this summer, my buddy, probably like August, texts me. He's like, I have good news. And I was like, yes. So he sends me a picture of him in velvet. And he's the biggest.
You didn't find a shed. You had a picture of him.
Yeah. Gotcha. And he's a 5-year-old. I think he's a 5-year-old. He could be a 6-year-old.
Let me see that picture one more time.
So you know he's alive right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
Have you gotten pictures of him recently?
There's probably a date on that. I don't even remember.
You cut it off very smartly. You cut it off to send your buddies.
But it's one of those, like, there's enough people around there and we know them. Like, we would know.
Yeah.
100% we would know.
That's a giant.
Bro, I'm going to tell you, man. That deer is mid to high 50s.
I think so. We were thinking 60.
I think he could absolutely. I can't tell the width on him, but I mean,
he's probably got like a 16 inside.
But he's so tall,
bro. His G2. Look at those G2s, man. He's got these. He looks like a mule deer.
13 or 14. Yeah, he's got splits on both G2s, man.
Yeah. There ain't nothing better than the cat and mouse between a hunter and a big deer, dude.
I like a big heavy 8 too, man. Like just because he's got an 8. I mean, he's got points everywhere, but he's a mainframe 8. But God, he's a dog.
He's a dog, dude.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So anyway,
the saga still continues. The book's still open, huh?
Yeah, and I went this past weekend. I hung a lock back on our back, like where we know that he was crossing. South of it.
This guy's a hunter.
Dude, I'm so excited. I know, man. Just because I remember when you were like getting into it, really. I mean, I've always
deer hunted, but it's just different now. The past 5 or 6 years, I've like
there's a jump that happens.
taken it more seriously, and I've started killing better deer because of it, and like hunting the wind and just hunting the right time. And
he's going and hanging lock-ons
I know, man. Yesterday,
it's like watching
All right,
that's
a good segue into. Let's talk about your hunting history, like when you started. Who got you into it? Was it your dad, your uncle, your granddad?
My dad. I was actually with my grandpa when I killed my first doe.
How old?
Sick.
7.
Yeah, come on.
And dude, I killed a spike when I was like 12 or something like that.
Bro,
First buck.
Don't give us that look. It's okay. You shot
It was illegal back in the day. That's all I'm saying.
I thought you were saying
Nobody come at us.
I don't give a shit that it was
Nobody
a spike.
come at us for
I
this,
think
dude.
there's probably a statute of limitations. You know, you're probably all right by now. 22 years, whatever.
And then when I was 13, I started hunting by myself. Or it's 12 or 13. First year, I killed a like 125-inch 8 with a New England Firearm 243 youth model.
Let's go.
That gun is
single
this
shot.
big, single shot.
I know. Bolt action. I know that gun.
You had the same one, but a bolty.
Yep.
This is North Mississippi, or
Central, East Central.
East Central
Yeah.
Mississippi.
And for 10 years, that was the biggest buck I killed. And this was before, I was still a teenager. I still wasn't like super into it. We were just going and not hunting wind and just sitting in box stands and just praying for the best. And so I didn't really kill a whole lot of deer. And then when I was like 23, 10 years later, I killed a pretty decent buck. And then I went another like 8 or 9 years without killing a good buck. And then
Well, you're probably grinding at that time musically. I
had moved up here and I was not hunting a lot back home.
But also too, like after you, and we were kind of the same way, and our dad kind of put us in this position, like once you kill that first mature deer, 2 or 3 year old, 3 or 4 year old, 125, 130, there's something in you, if you are passionate about those animals and hunting, that you don't want to shoot those anymore.
Yeah.
You want to start hunting older deer and
100%.
getting more in tune with their lifestyle in the woods and trying to figure out those deer instead of just going out there and shooting a buck.
100%, man. And it's tough because like we don't hunt big pieces of property, so like there's a lot of pressure.
Different game too.
There's a lot of people killing your deer that you want to watch grow. And that's just part of it, dude. And that's part of the crapshoot or whatever. But
it is. It is tough. It's tough to let them go, man.
Dude, I ended up buying. So we have a 300-acre piece of property that we hunt a lot in Mississippi, and it was split between my grandmother and her sister. You know how that is, old land.
Oh yeah.
And my grandmother's sister, my great aunt, she passed away a long time ago, and her side of the family quit hunting it because they lived in Vicksburg, and so they put it up for sale. So I bought it to keep it in our family and all that.
That's great.
And dude, when I bought it and I started actually going out there and doing the work myself and putting out feeders and helping like any way that I could to get it set up, it's like karma or God or whichever thing you want to pick. I started killing good deer. It was like when I started putting in the work.
Come on, man.
And like I bought the land and like I've killed a good deer out there 3 years in a row now.
Fruits of your labor, bro.
Yeah, dude, exactly.
Yeah.
I think there's something to that. But dude, I got to tell this story because this is the funniest story in the world.
Get into it.
The first year as a landowner, my first sit, I was sitting in a tall ladder stand, 2-seater. And
I like that extra room too.
I had this. Oh yeah, that's nice. You spread out a little bit.
Put your little Debbie's right there beside you.
Oh, yeah,
you ain't got to get in your
Put
bag.
your backpack right
You gotta
there.
lean up in the corner.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Something, a chair and a half.
And I had this buck on camera that was like an 8 on one side, and it was just like a hand on the other side, dude. It was just crazy, like
little chicken head on that left side.
dude, just crazy. I mean, he wasn't big, but he was a non-typical deer.
Yeah.
And I'd had him on camera. And I'm sitting here, it's like 70 degrees. I'm sitting here in like nothing. I could have been in shorts and a t-shirt. It is dead still. And it's my first sit. Like I got home like at 2 p.m. and I got in the stand at like 2:30. And it is so still and it is so dry. And dude, I hear one coming. And I was just like, all right, here we go. And I look up and it was that buck. And I'm left-handed. So he was crossing to my left in like a hardwood bottom. And I had to make a shot like this to shoot him. And
oh yeah, I see what you're saying. You had to come all the way
Yeah,
across.
yeah.
But
So
left-handed, so you gotta,
and it's in a ladder stand. I didn't have a harness on, so I'm like, you know what I mean? It's not like I can lean into it and like really make a good turn. So dude, I'm shooting him like this off my right shoulder with my left eye. I had it behind his shoulder and I pulled the trigger and he just dropped straight to the ground. And I was like, let's go. And so I immediately get down and I go down there and I flip him over, try to, see his exit wound. And I was like, what the hell? And I flipped him back over and I'm, rubbing his hair back to see if I can't just find his entry wound. And I realized I made such a bad shot. I hit him in the neck and I dropped him, dude. I was off. I put it behind his shoulder, but just the way that I was I just couldn't see good. Dude. I got so lucky because that flinch could have gone anywhere, dude.
I'm gonna tell you, man.
I got him right in the neck and I dropped him, dude.
I'm pretty sure I've had that same situation, and I shot the buck. And it was my first ever big buck. I called Dan. I saw him drop, roll down, leave scattered. He didn't kick or anything, but rolled down, like kind of slid down the hill. And I was like, let's go, let's go, let's go. Get down my stand. I'm looking at him. I see him get up and walk off. I'm pretty sure what happened is I made such a bad shot. I shot him in the antler and just shot him.
Jarred him.
I jarred him and knocked him out, and he got up and walked off.
That's dangerous, dude.
Dad's done the same thing.
Dude, there's some old timers that swear by that neck shot that you're
My
talking
dad
about.
will do it, man.
Yeah.
It worked. He wasn't huge, but he was probably 150 pounds.
I mean, I would venture to say, I think you're in a Brothers Hunt hoodie in that picture.
I can tell you right now.
I kind of remember. I think I remember.
Was this the first deer off your...
deer off of that property as a landowner.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
So there are people that I mean, I'm sorry. I would say in like top 3 deadliest.
Dude, he is awesome. Not a Brothers Hunt, but he is awesome.
Yeah, dude, I don't know that deer. You didn't send me that.
It's a couple years ago. Well, y'all took a hiatus, man. I was mad at y'all for not doing the podcast anymore.
Your boys dipped on you for a little bit, huh?
That's a great deer, man.
Yeah, I was excited about it.
You should be, man. That's a stud.
And you know what sucks? We scored him. Because 125 is like the number, especially down there. We scored him. Excuse me.
Yeah. Right.
I had a picture of him the night before, and his main beam, his normal beam, came all the way out to like the center of his head.
Really?
I killed him I saw him that afternoon, and he had broken it off that night.
No way.
And he was 124 and like 5'8". So if he'd have had his beam, he'd have been 125.
I'm going to tell you though, man. I mean, you look at the nose on that deer, dude. That ain't no pup, bro.
Dude, score does not matter, man.
No, it
don't. It ain't score.
I get hung up on it these days.
I know.
I've never killed a 140. Well, I've never killed a 140 low fence. I'm sure y'all saw that deer I killed.
What are you talking about? We didn't see nothing.
I didn't see nothing.
But I've killed a 240, but I killed a 140.
Congratulations, man.
Dude, I got so much hell for that. Oh, what are you talking
about? High fence Hardy,
dude. I'd never done it before, and there's all these arguments you can make. You don't say nothing about catching fish in a pond and this and that. But dude, I wanted to do it one time in my life, and I will never regret it. And I will say, have y'all ever done it before?
I haven't. Dude, that's an incredible animal, man.
Dude,
high fence, low fence, it doesn't matter. It's an incredible animal.
I learned something.
Okay.
And I feel like such a dingus just even trying to explain
What'd
myself.
you say, a dingus?
Yeah. But
dingus.
A dingus, dude. But it's still, and every place is different. But this place, they had a handful of enormous deer.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw like 3 bucks the whole time I was there. And we hunted 6 hunts. Like, you still have to see the deer.
Sure.
It's not like you pick one out in a magazine and they say, you go to this stand and he's going to come out.
I mean, there
time.
are places like that, but you're saying your place was not.
No, I mean, it was on 400 acres and it was like, they have like package or whatever. There's like the management buck, which the management buck is like deer like that, dude. Mm-hmm. And like, which is insane. And I killed one like that too on the second or the first day. But those bucks are the ones that stayed in there when they fenced it.
Yeah.
And they call them management bucks, but those are the real bucks.
Right. Yeah.
And what's funny is that I shot a deer like that on the first day because I was dying to shoot one, and I wanted to I wanted to, and dude, that deer, it's funny the difference between like a wild deer and like a bred deer. That deer ran significantly further.
Really?
I made the same exact shot on both deer, and that the management buck, the real wild buck, ran so much further.
Bro,
it's just, he's got that dog in him. He's got that wild dog.
For
no
sure,
doubt.
man.
Survival.
No doubt.
But dude, it was one of those things where like we that was only the second deer I had seen that day, and you know he's still got to come out and you still got to shoot him. I mean, it still felt like hunting to me. It was just, but I don't know if I ever do it again. But man, it was so fun and it was just crazy.
That's all that matters is if you had fun doing it, and if you do it again, you do it again. If you don't, no worries, man.
Yeah, it was. I don't. Regret
I told you
it,
not to post it though.
I had to, man. I should have just posted the management deer. He was like a 130.
Still ain't.
That's gonna be my caption for every deer.
I love it.
But yeah, man.
Dan's got another. He's got another nickname for you.
Oh yeah, I give everybody nicknames, and my nickname for you, I should have done it earlier, was going to be Hard Rock Hardy.
Oh, I love that.
I know, but it had nothing to do with like the actual music. It's about you being a dang
We got an
arrowhead
guy,
man.
dude.
This is a true blue arrowhead guy.
And now listen,
I can't get into it. It's not that.
Have you ever found one?
you haven't gotten into it. You not
There
that
go.
you can't.
That's
you
it. It's not that I can't. I haven't gotten into it because I have never found one. I think
That's why.
I love history. I think it's awesome. I think, it's almost like a teleportation kind of thing. You can put yourself back in the
Because it's still there.
literally
on
on the ground you're standing.
Yeah,
on.
a dude our age running around hunting the same animals, but with bullets or
which is
that's what me and Combs were talking about in the Midwest is like however many years ahead of where we're at right now, people are going to be finding shell casings, and they're going to be like, "Oh, this is a 30-06."
When they're
or,
hunting
this
with
you
lasers.
already do with shotguns. You ever like? There's old creeks and stuff
That's true.
Back 100 years ago, they made them, and the shell casing was made out of paper.
Yeah,
and so now you'll just find the whatever you call that, the cap or whatever.
cap,
it's kind of a similar thing, but you're right, man.
Combs is big into it because of you.
I got him into it.
Dude, he talks about you as like the godfather of the
I love that.
arrowheading
I love
and-
that title.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he tells everybody that haunted story.
Let's just set the scene. Hardy's got a story about arrowheads.
All right.
that we're just gonna let him take off.
So
Combs is probably jacking it all up anyway, if I had to guess.
He told it pretty well. It
was
had him on the edge of their
so
seat.
long. He tells it so.
I'll try to keep it to the cliff notes.
No, don't. We got time. Go for it.
So
Make it good. Make
Hunter
it real
Phelps
good.
again is like one of my best friends in Nashville.
Great dude.
Or at all, and he's my big arrowhead hunting buddy. This particular time, it was 2 years ago, I guess. At this point,
Okay.
I had COVID 2 years ago on Christmas, so I didn't get to go do Christmas with my family. But I wasn't really sick. It was warm, and I went and found one on Christmas Day.
Oh, nice.
But anyway, so we're hitting all these bank spots, and we're doing all this stuff, and we're finding a couple, and it's getting dark, and we get to this one spot we've never been to before. Hunter goes this way, and I go this way. I go down here. I find a big, like, beautiful arrowhead, and
What's big?
like not the size of your hand, but like pretty. You know what I mean?
You mean my whole hand?
Yeah, I found a good one. Like one of the best ones I've ever found. It looked like a big leaf.
So is this a hunting arrowhead or is this like a working arrowhead?
More than likely a knife.
Okay.
They call them all arrowheads, but most of them were like knives and spearheads. Only the really small ones are actual arrowheads.
Okay. Right.
And that didn't come until like the woodland period, which was like they didn't start hunting with bows until way later.
Yeah.
Thousands of years after
Yeah.
you would think. I mean, it's getting real dark. And Hunter comes back and he's like, you have to come with me right now. I have to show you something. And I walk with him down the bank to his spot that he went and picture like a wall. And it's regular gray, or not gray, brown dirt.
Yeah.
And then there's a spot, probably like the width of this wall, that's just black and gray. And there's flint and animal bones and pottery just like pouring out of this bank.
Really?
Jeez.
And it was a campsite. No, we were the first people to find it.
How old was this campsite in your brain? Do you think? Guess.
3,000 or 4,000 years,
Jeez.
That's sick.
maybe older.
That's crazy.
That's really cool already.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool to find something.
So we were the first people to find it. It was I mean, we had to have been because we found so many artifacts right there.
Like, did you know what you had found?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we start finding stuff and didn't think anything about it. I go home, and before I even go any further, there's no facts really that point directly to this, but it's the only thing that can explain what I'm about to tell.
Okay.
So it's all like jumbled, but I woke up one morning, and it took like 2 weeks, but I woke up one morning.
You brought something back from that
I
spot?
brought like two or three arrowheads back.
Okay.
And I woke up one morning and like all the lights were on in my house. And I lived in a house at the time in Jolton. And when I say the middle of nowhere, you could not see it from a helicopter, dude. It was my driveway was like a mile, like a 3/4 of a mile long. It went through these hardwoods and these hills, and then it was like a kind of a Gatlinburg style cabin. It was awesome.
Yeah, yeah. You still have that place? I remember you
sold it.
Did you?
Yeah.
I remember you having that. I said, you going to keep that? And you said, have you met my wife? That's literally what you said to me. I hope that doesn't get you in trouble.
No, it won't. But dude,
all the lights are on.
Yeah, all the lights are on. So, and I didn't think anything about it, but I was like, dude, I don't sleepwalk. Like it was really bizarre. And what I mean is like, my mom didn't come and check in and forget to leave some lights on while I was sleeping. Right. There's just no, there's none of this you can explain anything because there's a gate and a mile-long driveway and a house where nobody knows exists. So anyway.
And you wouldn't have left the lights on?
No. I mean,
was it just you, or was Callie there with you?
Just me for the first few times. Yeah. And what it is it wasn't an A-frame, but the master bedroom, it was only one story upstairs, or one room upstairs, and it was an open, like, master bedroom.
Gotcha.
So you walk in, the living room, all this, and then the stairs, they just go up, and there's a master bedroom. There's no door to it. Yeah. Loft kind of deal.
Gotcha.
So, but essentially what I'm saying is I couldn't sleep if the lights were on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the whole house would
be lit up. My room would be lit up.
Yeah.
So anyway, that happened like 3 nights in a row. I would go downstairs in the morning and like random lights would be on.
In a row?
In a row.
Okay.
And then, and some of this might be out of order.
That's all right.
Callie and I were, I guess you could say, putting together the guest bedroom, the bed, side table, all this stuff. And we hung a mirror behind the bed. And my wife is very meticulous, and I'm not, so it's a good balance. But we were hanging this mirror, and it had to be perfect. And so we literally were like messing with it for an hour, and we finally got it perfect. And we looked at it, and good job. All right, great. And then we go to bed, and we wake up the next morning, and the mirror has a giant scratch across the middle of the mirror.
See, he didn't tell that one.
I know, I'm getting chill bumps, bro.
It was so obvious that Cal, and I had told Callie, like, man, something was going on with the house. Like, lights are coming on and stuff. And there was a window that was open one morning behind my kitchen sink that was really weird.
He tells that one, yeah. So then Callie was like, I don't like that at all. I mean, we examined, it would be like hanging this flag, and then the next morning, there'd be a tear
down the middle of the flag. I mean, it was
not like the flag had fallen off. Like it literally, like things were open that takes human power.
Yeah. And so there was a scratch across the mirror, and it freaked both of us out. I didn't think anything about it, and then one night we were up there watching Yellowstone, and we heard a noise downstairs, and I can't remember if this part was in my head, but I think I remember Callie being like, "What was that?" And I was like, "It sounded like a chair scooted across the floor." And didn't think anything about it. And I got up early the next morning, and our chair from our kitchen table had been moved like 6 feet out, like into the middle of our living room. And I was just like, oh shit, dude, this ain't cool, dude.
It started to become a thing.
It's
become a thing.
Yeah, it's becoming a thing.
Are you ghosty? How do you feel? Where do you range on the?
Here's my thing.
Paranormal scale.
I think that somehow, some way, science can explain something to do with it. And I think there's a way that they can explain it and not negate religion. I just think we didn't know that radio waves existed until 100 years ago. And now look what we've done with invisible waves where you can like talk to people across the world. And this, I mean, they're like, totally. I think there's a way to explain it because I want to believe so bad that it's real. But So, all right, here's the meat and potatoes of it.
All right.
I woke up, and this sounds like a movie, but I swear to God, this is true. I woke up. Callie, so we had windows start opening, lights kept turning on and off, like all
Not
this
at the
stuff.
same time.
How
Just
long?
over-
What time period is this going
This
on?
is over the course of a couple months.
Okay.
And then Callie said, I can't. We're dating at this point. We're not even engaged yet. And she's like, I can't keep staying with you. It freaks me out. And
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, she lived in town. I lived out in Jolton. She didn't stay with me all the time anyway. But she was like, I just, until this calms down, like
But it was
freaks me
enough
out.
to
It's enough to
like-
freak her out bad. And I was freaked out, but I never like went to bed scared. I would just wake up and be like, God, something happened again.
Yeah.
So, there was a series of like 5 or 6 nights in a row. I never wake up in the middle of the night, ever. I never have, unless I have to go pee, which I still usually never do.
Yeah.
I woke up at 2:59 or 3 a.m. on the dot 5 or 6 nights in a row. And I would wake up and I would check my clock, and it was 2:59 or 3 o'clock a.m. on the dot. There was one night I woke up and it was 3 a.m. on the dot, and I was in a full-on like sweat. Like
I thought you were going to say teepee. I was like, oh, gee. I was in a teepee. Oh, my God.
dude, I was
How did I get here? Sorry. All right. Go ahead. Sorry. Full on sweat.
And I woke up feeling uncomfortable, and I was like, what is going on? I sat on the side of my bed. I turned my lamp on. And when I turned my lamp on, something jumped from my balcony.
Come on. Wait. Something jumped?
So
From your what?
from the balcony, from the loft where my bedroom is, because there was a rail. And you could hear the pressure of like putting the pressure on it. Like as if it was sitting on the rail. Like it creaked.
Like,
and then nothing, and then boom, and it hit the floor, and it ran through my house. And I jumped up, I got up out of bed, and I like turned every light on. I grabbed my gun, I swept my entire house. Like every closet, every corner, no doors were open, nothing.
I got chills on my thigh.
Me
Man.
too. I'm scratching my knees.
Dude, and again, like, there's no way anybody could get in this house. Like, there's no way anybody knew it was there. Like, it wasn't like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
you, ain't
wasn't
got
like
no
a
you ain't got no
shoddy-
dogs or coyotes running up through there. Yeah.
No.
Raccoon.
And it was the most real, like, yeah, see, I even thought, like, it was loud. It was so loud, though, that it was like, it shook the dishes in my, like, it was like somebody jumped. I mean, it's hard to explain.
No.
Dude, I sweat my whole house. I didn't sleep a wink that night. And then I came home and I told Callie about it. And she was like, we got to do something. And I was like, I agree.
No, let me ask you this. In that process, are you has the artifacts even rang in your head that you...
At that, okay, yes. So some point in that month, 2 months, Callie was the one, she was like, I think it's that campsite y'all found the other day. And I was like, and you just don't know, man. Like, that fresh dirt. Oh, this was another very important one that I forgot about.
Yes. I'm so glad there's another one.
Me too. I'm in, bro. I'm way in.
Like, the first thing that happened before the lights coming on and everything, like the night or two after I brought that stuff home, my truck alarm, I lock my truck even out at my house. Like, that's the one thing I would do. At Callie's house, wherever it was, I would lock my truck. My alarm went off in my truck every single night for like, and you know when it's cold, like your electronics get squirrely and that can happen.
Yeah, because your battery go dead.
This was
pop
in
back
April
on.
or May. Yeah. Like weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I could not figure out what the deal was. And then one day it just stopped doing it, and it's never done it ever again. And that
Same
was
truck, same
that was
truck.
the first same truck, but that was the first
Same truck
thing
out
that
here?
happened. Yeah.
Dang.
Um.
Did you have it in Hardy Flodge then?
No, I didn't. It was
Okay.
all black.
Hardywood's.
But and I, okay. So here's my like, it's crazy theory is that whatever it was, and rode home and got in my truck with me, and I swear to God, it was like it was trying to get out or something. I mean, that's the way that I can describe it, because the only way alarm can
Like he
go
rode
off
with you?
if your truck is locked
Somebody's in it.
is if somebody's in it and they try to get out. You know what I'm talking about?
Totally.
Yeah,
If
dude.
you're in a locked car
And you try to get out, the alarm goes
off.
off.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that I could think of.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Do I sound like
I didn't think you needed it.
You
Dan
just had a little cough going
Dan
on.
just
I just,
thought
yeah, no,
it's
thank
my
you.
job to recognize that. So your truck is going off. It makes sense because
We'll put that down for sponsorship purposes.
Even if you if you lock somebody, if you lock even if you lock your wife in the car for 5 seconds while you run in, whatever, she's like, lock the doors while you go in the gas station. If she opens that door, or if she, even on some of the newer stuff, if you even move around inside the truck, the alarm will go off.
Yeah.
And that's what you're saying. It went off for how long? A week?
Yeah, at least a week. A couple times at her apartment, a couple times at mine, but I would wake up.
Ford Ghost, dude. Yeah, Ford Ghost.
So we came, dude, and I felt like an idiot doing this, but she bought some sage, and she like Googled all this stuff.
Bro, this is getting deep. Dude.
And she was like, it says to sage every doorway, every crack, every corner in your house, open all the windows and all the doors, and you walk in with an intention, and you tell it, you tell it to get out, and you don't say it like we're afraid of you. You tell it to get out. So, dude, I walked in there.
In Jesus' name, baby.
Absolutely.
Calling the blood of
Coat
Jesus.
these walls, son. Coat these walls.
All of it. And I was just like, I'm, if I have something of yours, I'm sorry. I can promise you I treat it with respect, but you're not welcome here. This is our home, and you're making us uncomfortable. And dude, we did the thing and open up the doors, and they said, like, you sage a door really good, and you're like, get out of here now. And dude, not a single thing happened after that. It left us alone. But here's the craziest thing is my parents used to go out there sometimes and just like hang out. It's like a little getaway because they live here in town. And my mom would go out there and she texted me a couple of times before I moved. And she was like, and my mom has never told a lie in her life. And she was like, son, I don't know what's going on in your house. But she was like, I went in your guest bedroom and the lamp started turning on and off. And this was after the sage thing. And she was like, and I said out loud, I'm leaving, I'm getting out of here. And then said that she would walk by the front door, which had a lamp beside it, and said it was started turning on and off. And then she left, and she was like, I never will go back. And that was after the sage. So if it didn't leave, it at least like left us alone. But we never had a problem after that. And that's, and then
it keeps getting better.
This is the best story of all time.
Callie and I didn't tell anybody about this until
this is the best story of this
podcast
by a million.
That's awesome.
It is Mount Rushmore of stories right now, for sure.
Dude, so I told Hunter about it after everything had finally kind of fizzled down, and he was like, when was that? And I gave him like the exact date, and he like went back and he was like, dude, they lived in a townhome down
no
there.
way,
you can ask him about this.
I'm getting freaked.
And he was like, I woke up one night to my dog barking. He was like, Layla, his German Shepherd, he was like, she never barks in the middle of the night. And I woke up and I heard a big thud downstairs. And they're in like a townhome. They didn't have a baby. The dog was upstairs with them. She started barking. And he said that the next morning he went down and his arrowhead case had been unlatched and opened. Because he brought some stuff home too.
And bro, that ain't no liar.
Hunter
dude.
ain't no liar.
No,
bro.
he don't.
Hell no.
No, he's a.
And
So maybe I don't want to find arrowheads, bro.
Wicked.
Maybe I just don't let that be, man.
But I didn't take that stuff back. I still have it. I mean,
dang,
the stuff
dude,
I found
you
in the
got
store,
it, dude.
Yeah,
Dude,
they're all
get
red
that
too. They're
Ford
made
out
out of like red
I'm gonna
jasper.
pray over your Ford when I leave. I'm gonna.
What if my truck alarm starts going
That'd
off,
be
dude?
sick,
That would be
man.
sick, dude.
I bet too. Like I bet there are tons of those stories from artifact like finders and arrowhead hunters that have. I guarantee you there are. I mean, and listen, I'm not a ghosty guy. I've got my own stories of being at the fire hall over here and the piano playing.
I've heard about the fire hall,
dude. I'm not ghosty, but
how can you hear a piano playing and not think something?
Yeah, no, I did. I heard it was like a
What
weird.
were you doing or something?
I was pooping. I don't know if you can say that. Pooping on podcast.
Say boo boo. Shoey. That's what we call it.
I was shoeying
with my dog.
I was shoeying,
Yeah,
and Jason
shoey.
Nix he had just left. And
Is this during the day?
No, this is like 11:30 at night. Yes. Jason Nix had just left.
Were you drunk?
No.
Had you been drinking?
We had been writing. No, dude. I had not. We weren't
writes
out.
Okay, all right.
This is when I was grounded, bro. I was
All
hungry.
right.
But
grounded.
yeah, same thing. I was shoeying, and Jason had just left. I heard the door closed, and then I heard on the piano. I heard a chord, but it wasn't like a bling. It was like a doom doom doom.
So it was major?
Yeah, it was major.
Okay.
Maybe that's a good thing.
And I was like,
because if it was like doom doom doom.
I'd have died right there on the potty. They'd have found me dead the next morning shooting.
Yeah, for sure.
But I was like, Jason, dude, get out of here, man. Nothing. I call him. He's almost to Mount Juliet. Like it was. And I'm not a ghosty guy. But
Wait. You are a chicken, though. You're chickeny.
I mean,
dude, this is one of my favorite stories of Reid.
Get to it because we got to talk about some music.
All right, jeez, who cares about music? So we obviously We lived in the same
Dude,
house.
by the way, wait, hang on.
Surprise.
That's a great story.
Oh,
Thank you.
That's an incredible story.
Thank you.
way better than
It's 100% true.
Yeah,
I've gotten a lot of hell for it. Like I told it on Bobby Bones, and everybody was like,
Oh, dang, you already told it. Let's cut all that out.
X.
I think they
It's
literally
a lie.
they edited it down to make me sound like an idiot. Though.
No, we're not going to do that. That's all.
That's a
it's
great
too
story,
good.
and I believe you 100%.
So I come downstairs one night. Reeves at his girlfriend's house.
It's a long time ago, by the way. Don't act like it was
4 or 5 years. I'm just kidding. Don't. So I come down to get a drink of water. I see him pull in the driveway. And so
and then back in the day, there's like 4 or 5. We got my dad's car, my mom's car, Dan's car, my car. Like, so I'm in the back.
It was like Christmas. Yeah, we were home for Christmas. And one of my
The dark kind of wears me out. It used to. I'm good now, but the dark kind of
my
used to wear me
top
out.
things in life is scaring the balls off of Reid. It's my favorite thing. So I see him pull in, and I'm like, oh, baby, yes, thank you, Jesus. I go out the door, and I get into our shop was just like right across the walkway from the house. So I get in the door of the shop, and I hear him when he shuts his door. It's like he's already running. Like he just shuts his car door and is running to that. It's like 12:30, and just as he gets to like where you would skip up on the steps to turn back into the house, there was a vice there, and I went cheek, and it sounded just like a shotgun.
Oh,
and
my
when
God.
I did it,
I locked up, son.
dude, he
I went
like
goat.
fainting goated.
Yeah.
And froze, and in midair, he was already halfway up the skip, and he froze and just went, "Ah," and just fell. I thought I killed it.
Oh my God!
I thought I killed it. Dude. He was like, "What are you doing? Why'd you do?" It was like on that like edge of tears, but also so mad he could fight me, dude. And I was doubled up. Anyway, if you get a chance to scare Reid, it's a beautiful thing, dude.
I don't like being scared. I'm good though now. I don't get scared anymore. So
You remember when you tried to scare me and I grabbed you by the throat?
I knew you were gonna bring that up, dude.
Dude, have y'all ever had like a long walk out of the woods, forget your flashlight though? Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna tell a really quick
let's
story.
go,
Shoot,
dude.
this is
You
about
got a ride at
There's-
11?
There's no, not really. I'm good. I'm good. I got time.
Sick. We are too. Aren't we, Grace? Are we good? We just
So the ending of this is a regular, normal ending, but I will just talk about how weird it is. We've cut it over now, but to walk to one of our stands on that 300-acre property, and I was hunting a ladder stand on the back side of it, and we all parked at the barn and
hike.
no side, just a long walk, and there's really no other way to do it than to walk. There's no good place to park, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I was out there by myself. I get up in my ladder stand. It was the afternoon, and I'm up there, and it gets dark, and I'm like, shit, I left my flashlight, headlamp, or whatever, and
Probably had deer on you too, because whenever that happens, you stay later.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
and-
Oh,
and
yeah.
You always forget your light whenever you stay later.
So I get down, and it's like hardwoods, and then a creek, and then a huge pine thicket that's like forever. It's like a 800-yard walk.
There's
through this
something
pine
about
thicket.
dark pines too.
Oh, they're
man.
the darkest. It's the darkest.
Something
That's
about
where the
dark
devil
pines.
lives. dude.
Yep, and you can hear that wind blowing through them, dude.
You gotta tell me.
So I'm down there by myself. I parked at the barn. I'm by myself that day. Like no uncles or cousins or anybody's out there. And I get to what we call the big oak, and I swear to God, it's as big around as this room. It's like
Sick.
the oldest oak tree ever. It's still there. And it's spooky but it's dark. There's no moon, and it was overcast. I mean, it was pitch dark,
yeah,
and
dude,
I could
that's
barely
dark.
see to find the road to
Yeah,
get
that's
on.
dark.
And I get to that oak, it was still, and I smelled cigarette smoke. And I was, and at first, like, I just was walking, and I was like, somebody's burning a fire. And then I thought, no, that's cigarette smoke.
There's a difference.
And I was like,
That's a
somebody's
Marlboro.
in here on me, dude. And like,
Were you
Excuse me.
were you bow hunting or did you?
No, I
have
was
to-
rifle
Oh,
hunting.
thank God.
yeah, and dude, and I
Walk
did.
out like this.
I did. I threw my gun back off my shoulder, and like, knowing me, it was probably still loaded. But
Heck yeah, it was.
anyway, dude, and I didn't have a light. It was the weirdest feeling in the world because this is down in a bottom, dude, like way down in there, but even halfway back to the truck. But I just remember it being the weirdest feeling in the world, knowing that somebody else was around there.
Do you think someone else was around there?
So it ended up being a cousin of mine that he has the right to hunt this place, but
You did smell a dude.
Smoking a cig.
Oh yeah. No, I mean it was cigarette smoke, and it was so undeniable that I was like, somebody's in here with a sniper getting ready. They're smoking a cigarette. And they're getting ready to shoot my head off.
That's
like,
yeah,
just had to get him a quick.
I mean, but it was just such a weird feeling knowing you're out there alone and then smelling that and being like, "There's somebody within proximity of me, and I don't have a flashlight."
Had he left, or was he still there?
He was still there. I don't know what he was doing. Never saw him, but I got back up to the truck, and there was a white van up there, and I was just like, and I didn't know the vehicle, and I threw my shit in the truck, and I got out of there. And I called my dad, and anyway, come to find out it was him, but he had not hunted down there in 10 years. He just happened to go down there and probably sit in the woods, but it was just such a weird, I can't describe that feeling of thinking you're completely alone and then in an instant being like, somebody's in these woods with me, dude.
You don't have to. I've been there.
Yeah.
I scared. You remember that dude that come in drunk on us turkey hunting that time?
Oh, yeah.
Reid was calling a bird. It's weird. It was a turkey that needed to be hunted. Like, 2 men couldn't have done it. There just wasn't enough room down there. So Reid was just cutting his teeth on turkey hunting and calling and everything. So he went down there and was hunting the bird. And I just went up the hill and sat to see if anything happened down there later. Well, dude, we got there at like 5:15. I mean, early as hell. Van pulls up. What song was it playing? Golly, it was
I couldn't hear anything.
It was something like, "Feels like the first time." It was one of those songs.
Yeah.
You know, real loud at 7 a.m. Sun's already up. Birds gobbling. He gets out of the truck, dude, and he's like,
dude was going through it, man.
Yeah, he was
going.
Do y'all know this guy?
no.
It wasn't the Tracy Lawrence guy? Could it have been the same dude?
Tracy Lawrence?
Dude, that's down in Mississippi. That was
Hayden.
Grenada, dude.
Oh, Grenada, yeah.
So anyway, this guy comes walking down, or he goes walking towards Reid first. So I'm 300 yards. I can't get in touch with him. He starts walking down because Reid's got this bird gobbling.
I saw him coming, and I just start cutting. Like, I just start mouth calling, like,
to let him know he was down there. But he kept coming. Didn't you finally were like, "Hey, man."
Was
I
he
was
in
like,
camo?
oh, yeah.
He was going to turkey hunt.
He
he was
was.
gonna
He
hunt.
definitely had a shotgun.
He was walking toward the bird that I had gobbling.
dude.
I mean, he was just gonna. He was going for that bird.
So Reid signals him. He comes back up the
but he
fence
gets
line,
mad, son. He's like,
and he starts walking towards me, and he's cussing Reid, dog cussing. He's like, "That's some. I mean, I got. This is my land too, and I got permission." But he's coming at me. He don't know I'm sitting there, and he's getting closer and closer and closer because I'm on a wood line, right? He's coming. He's like, "I'm finna whip his ass." And when he said, I said, "Well, hey, buddy, you're going to have to go through me first." And that son of a bitch went, God! I mean, like, it scared the shit out of this dude.
Oh, my God,
I mean, scared.
dude.
It was still kind of hazy dark, you know? And I thought he was going to I thought I gave him a heart attack. And he was like, "Hey, who's in there?" And I was like, "The brother of the dude you were just dog cussing is in here." And You're welcome to tell me what you're going to do to him, man, but you're going to have to go through me first before you do. And he went, "Man, I don't need this right now," and started crying. Went to crying.
he ended up sitting there with Diane. They were calling turkeys and
listen,
talk
man,
about Jesus and all of it, dude.
To talk about how great of a human I am, I said, He said, "I don't need this right now, man. I got permission here, and I didn't mean to mess you. I didn't know it was your brother, man. I didn't mean to mess you up." I was like, "Oh my god!"
He thought he was about to get his ass whipped.
No,
he was.
Yeah, he's crawfishing.
He was fixing
He's
to.
crawfishing big time.
But we both had shotguns, so I don't know how that would have gone. And I thought about that. I had plenty of time to think while he was walking towards me,
Yeah.
kind of get my thoughts straight. So I said, man, just sit down, dude. Like, let's just chill and see if he shoots this bird. Man, my wife left me, and I could smell liquor on him while he was
poor
sitting
guy,
beside
dude,
me.
going through it.
And finally, I was just like, dude, it's all good, man. Don't worry about it, you know. And we never saw that guy again either. I guess, but
Where was that?
West Tennessee.
West Tennessee. I ended up getting a shot. I hunted that turkey all year long. Shot at it at 55 yards, missed it. But that turkey taught me how to turkey hunt.
Yeah,
like
sure.
that. That turkey taught me a lot about turkey hunting.
We still ain't took you.
Never killed a turkey.
Oh, it's happening. It's happening.
Dude, I've been on a bunch. I'll give you a perfect example. I'm snake bit or something, dude. I went with
we
Duck.
got you, dog.
You just ain't been on it right.
I went with Duck last year. Y'all know Duck, right?
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's a great turkey.
And he was like, dude, I'm already tagged out. He was like, come with me. I got a bird that flies down to this same spot every single morning. And dude,
he did have a bunch of birds last year, by the way. He
right
was
there
sending
out there,
me videos.
close to his house.
Oh yeah,
Dude, we sit down at daylight, 90 yards, and he's working him, and then he just spooks, and he's the other, and that's every turkey. And we're behind a like there is no way that he saw. Every turkey hunt I've ever been on, have been working a bird and they spook, and then we go walking around looking for other birds, and that's it. And then I'm like, this sucks, dude. I've never been on a good turkey. I've never killed a turkey in my life. And I didn't grow up doing it, so I don't know anything about it.
Give us 2 or 3 days in the spring. Let's just go ahead. Let's mark it off. Give us 2 or 3 days, and we can put you on. We can put you on. I don't want to say too much because like turkey hunting is just like deer hunt, man. You can't make the bird fly down in front of you. You can't make the bird come.
A lot of things have to go right. Honestly,
turkey hunt's hard.
Like, they have to line up.
I've heard that it's the full spectrum of hunts. Like you can sneak on a bird, you can be there at daylight, and it flies and lands 20 yards in front of you.
Yeah,
there's just everything in between.
But it's a lot like as you hunt more and more and more, you start realizing that if you hit it right, you don't have to go all the time. You can just hit it in
it's like hunting a good buck, right?
Totally. It's like your odds are way better if you hit it. And a lot of that has to do with how much foliage is on trees, what the temperature's doing.
If the sun's coming up and getting the water, the dew off the grass.
I mean, it's a lot of. It's basically just like kind of becoming a woodsman. You kind of start to, not to say that we know everything.
But the more time you spend out there, the more. Exactly. I mean, it sounds hippy dippy, but the more in touch with it you get, the more
10,000 hour rule.
And it's more interactive than deer hunting. It really is, because like you're literally communicating with an animal, trying to make that animal think you are another animal.
And the roles are actually reversed. What actually happens is a bird gobbles and the hens go to him. I mean, what you're trying to do is
manipulate Mother Nature a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
To do.
Yeah. Dude, I got a question.
Go.
Why do deer rut in the true sense of the word better in certain places and don't in other places? Do you think that it's because of whenever they brought all these deer down from all these different places, that it's in their DNA? Because I know the story is, the question as old as time is, why is these deer rutting in 2 counties over, they don't rut for 2 months later? But why? I went on a hunt in Illinois last year. A buddy of mine, who let us drive up. Me and Hunter drove up to his farm and hunted an afternoon and a morning and came back. And that morning,
I think we know that farm, by the way.
Is it Todd?
I know where it is.
Yeah.
It's just south of Fairfield.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do y'all know that spot?
Dude, I know everything.
What the hell?
I know everything, dude.
We're watching you, bro.
If it involves deer within 250 miles of this spot, we know about it.
I said Illinois, dog. You said, I think I know that spot. And then you named the town, which is like 1,000 people in the town.
Hey, I killed a really nice deer.
All right. Sorry, go. Your question. I'm sorry.
Not the same
Okay,
farm,
you can edit this out. Is it spot?
I mean, I know where it is.
It's just south of Fairfield.
How do y'all know
We hunted there, dude. We've hunted everywhere.
How is that possible? Did y'all go up there with or something?
Yeah, we've hunted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Got a
Anyway,
bunch of great stories.
Freaking ridiculous, dude. Okay, well then you'll at least know what I'm talking about. I go down there.
We'll know exactly what you're talking about.
I already know what you're talking about.
Well, you probably hunted the same damn stand, dude. Millennium soft side and
I probably killed that 8-point the week before you got there.
And a funnel, dude, right next to the levee. Jesus
a little
Christ.
food transition.
You're like, they cross in front and sometimes in the back. Jesus. Anyway, dude. God.
Buddy.
But why? Like, the one morning I sat was the most eventful rut experience I've ever had in my life. I didn't see a stud, but I saw a bunch of like 100-inch deer running around and grunting. Yeah. And I truly have never seen that in Mississippi, and I rarely have seen it here. I've seen it more here, but why do those deer rut like Hollywood rut? You know what I mean? Like
totally.
As opposed to in Mississippi where they just, dude, I've never grunted up like a stud in Mississippi. I've never seen a deer like mount a doe. I've never seen bucks fight. I know they do. You rarely see one come out and work a scrape. Like, it's just a weird.
No, you're not incorrect.
The rut is so stale and just different down there. Why do you think that is? It's deer behavior.
I think I'll take it first, and then you can add on to it. I think it's a number of things. I don't think there's like one necessarily. Here's the answer to that. One thing that we've been talking about is we've got a buddy, his farm is the first one in Tennessee to rut.
Bro, I'm telling you.
Because they do it like first weekend.
It's Halloween.
Okay,
every year.
Hang on now. We have a group text, and it's like, it's just the Deer Boys text, and it's like Luke, Jonathan, Randy. So what it unintentionally did was go
south.
North to south.
Yeah, okay.
So you got Jonathan, Luke, Randy,
and then y'all.
and then we're way down here.
Yeah.
And so everybody's posting their stuff, and I think Ray's in there, and maybe I can't remember who else in there.
Jamie's in Mississippi.
Jamie's in Mississippi.
So I mean, he doesn't rut
Davis.
till-
Yeah. Okay.
So
January.
his stuff doesn't even come in. Like,
Well, that's me. Yeah.
so while we're talking about rut stuff, bro,
Rut stuff.
easy. He don't even have a
Hashtag.
He don't even start until Christmas. It seems like.
So
if the weather's right, if there's not a snap
But
until
here's-
January 3rd or 4th, they don't kick into then.
I think that's what Reid's getting.
But here's
at,
the reason
is
that I believe that is a possibility, or that's what's going on, is because I feel like where we live in Tennessee, northern Mississippi, we're getting a hodgepodge of deer. I think we're getting the northern strain,
Like a melting
We're
pot
getting the
is.
southern strain. We're getting the Midwest strain. And these deer work their way into this area and have over the however many years. And you're seeing some of that. You're seeing some of the Midwest rut. You're seeing some of the southern rut. You're seeing some of the northern rut in different areas of that from November, late October to early January, man, because there's different strains of deer that are in this area, if that makes sense. Two, I believe, one more thing. Two, I believe, you know how when you're hunting Illinois, it's mainly ag, and they've got finger pockets of timber.
Yeah.
That concentrates the deer.
That
whole
makes a lot of sense. So you're forced to see it more.
You're forced to because you can't hunt in
Because
the middle
Mississippi's a jungle, bro.
you ain't seen
it's
it.
all
It's all
it's a hardwood jungle.
It's all bedding. Same where we hunt in southern Tennessee, western Tennessee. It is everything is bedding. You're hunting a sliver of food plot, and then you're hunting hardwoods, thousands of acres of it, which these deer in the Midwest are concentrated to these fingers
more
of
visible.
timber, and out there is just. There's the quantity of deer is more, I believe.
Yeah.
I just believe there's more. Well, you're seeing more because you're in there. You got to.
I don't believe
get
there are
in
more
there.
deer. I think there are more deer in Mississippi,
But they're so thick.
you just can't see them.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you go out west, again, I feel like I'm like a granddaddy hunter over here. But when you go out west and you hunt mule deer during the rut, you can see the rut happen, right? You can see does kind of starting to come in. You can see bucks tickling, which is like, just kind of putting their horns
tickling each other.
tickle hardy.
Oh, stop.
So, I mean, I should explain that. Tickling. All right. Tickling the horns, man. Come on. So, my point is that when prime example, once again, is my spot, right? This is because I live on it, I can literally gauge what's happening out my back window.
Right, in real time. Yeah.
So that's different from having a lease somewhere where you just kind of bump down there every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks. You just literally can't
That's true.
see it.
If you're not in there every day.
Prime example is the deer I shot, right? I started seeing deer tickling horns 2 weeks. But this is the ironic thing. When I started seeing deer bumping a little bit, Jonathan's had already seen a deer mount.
Yeah.
So and knowing over the years that ours is coming right 2 weeks behind what his do, I was like, okay,
I need to be in the woods.
I'll let a cold front go through.
Yeah.
And the second cold front lined up perfect with the 2 week window.
Mm-hmm.
I saw you the night before, and I was like, I'm gonna shoot him more, and he came out. But all of that was a culmination of basically just intel that I had from living on the literal property. So I think it is happening. I think you are correct on that. A lot of the time that doesn't happen in Mississippi until January because, man, deer don't like to move in hot weather, bro. I'm not saying they won't. You can absolutely kill a deer. But and I could go on about this forever. But
Don't.
a lot of the moon phase then, if you have a bright spotlight moon, a lot of that's going on at night too.
Yeah, and there's scientific stuff that's probably way more accurate than what we're saying.
Oh, yeah,
like
we're good
the
old boy.
photosynthesis
We're good old boy
and the way the sun, how much sunlight's getting into.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's
we're
all.
talking
That's
from an
all,
experience.
Yeah, that's all
standpoint,
scientific
that's
stuff.
It's just seemed like a behavior thing for me, but I think the biggest one is that there's so much untouched, especially where I hunt, swamp and just thick stuff
there's
that
so much area
you don't
for 'em.
get to.
No.
And you just
and
don't
it's-
see your margin of seeing it actually go down is so much slim
Yeah.
unless you're covered up with deer.
And a lot
we're
of
just
that-
not like covered up
Or
with
you
deer.
live on it.
Yeah.
And a lot of that activity is going on at night anyway.
Yeah.
Like they're rutting through the night. And again, it goes to another point, it goes to what we were saying earlier, is you got to be there when the hot dough's there. If you're there and that hot dough's around, if the hot dough's on the next ridge, that guy's having the hunt of a lifetime.
Right.
When you're being like, there ain't no deer within miles within my state.
I planted $4,000 worth of corn in this summer.
Yeah.
Let's get into your record, man. You put out The Mockingbird and the Crow.
Yeah.
Which in itself is such a cool way to go about a record and doing it, especially coming from your background, half country, half rock. Let us into your
hard rock hardy, dude.
Let us into your brain on that project a little bit, man. Like where that kind of that idea came from, what spawned it, if it, your past and how you were raised and where that rock influence comes from, where the country influence comes from. Give us a little insight into that.
Dude, well, to speak to that last part, I grew up, my dad put rock and roll on me at like as young as I can remember. I mean, truly, like one of my first memories ever was my dad. He had a cassette tape and he said, he put it in and he was like, check this out. This is a band called Pearl Jam. And
your dad was repping Pearl Jam.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I was young, but I remember this. Younger. It was like 1994.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, I was like 4 years old, but I remember this. And he put it in. It was like something from a movie. And Alive was the first song that played on it. Dude, and I remember being like, that is badass. Like, I love that. And so I loved rock and roll growing up. And I had like an obsession with rock and roll.
It was the 10 where they were slapping high five on the front of the thing, man. Yeah, that was a great record, dude.
So when I was like 9, 10 years old, I was like the MTV era. Like I discovered, just through that, like Linkin Park and dude, Nickelback, unapologetically Nickelback, dude, and Creed and all that stuff. And I was obsessed with it. And I didn't listen to country growing up until like Paisley came along and like Eric Church, like early Eric Church, and like even Darius, like really those, like really Paisley and Eric Church, because I really liked Paisley's songwriting, and Eric Church was the first guy in a very long time that was like appealed to Good Old Boy,
the tough guy, Good Old Boy.
Yeah. 1,000%. And so, but growing up, I listened to I only listened to rock and roll, a little bit of hip hop and all that stuff too. But I didn't listen to a lot of country. But I grew up country. You know what I mean? You like probably I grew up small town just like y'all.
You're literally just saying exactly what we do. I mean, it's the same thing.
So, dude, so after my last record, A Rock, came out, like right after A Rock, I wrote Red. And that was a country song. And then like the same week, almost maybe the day after, I wrote Jack. And they were so completely different.
Right.
But I had them both on hold. And then, I just put them in the pile.
Loved them both.
Yeah, equally. Yeah. And then, dude, I wrote a rock song, and then I'd write a country song. And I looked down and I had like 5 and 5. And then you get like the, management and like my producer and stuff. And I was like, man, we should do like a half and half. So dude, I finished the whole record and had not written Mockingbird and the Crow yet.
Wow.
That was the last song I wrote for the record.
Really?
And
how cool is that?
So I was riding down the river one day, probably hunting arrowheads. And y'all, I know y'all being country people have seen this 1,000 times, but, there was a crow flying over the river, and there was a mockingbird on its ass, just like and you see that all the time. And for some reason, I wrote that down, like the mockingbird and the crow, and I just wrote it down in my phone. And then I was out on the road on tour, and I had Jordan Schmidt and Brett Tyler out with me, and I was playing them some of the rock stuff that was going to be on the record, and they were like, we got to write a rock song. I was like, I'm done. The record's done. And we went to bed, and I woke up the next day, and Jordan and Brett had gotten up like 2 hours early. They got me, dude. They bamboozled my ass.
You weren't done. You weren't done.
And they were like, Jordan built this track up today, and I was like, I don't need to write anything else. Like, I think the record's done. And then I literally opened up my ideas, and the Mockingbird and the Crow was like the last thing that I'd written down. And I was like, I actually think I have the perfect song to go right in the middle of this record.
So was the track the track?
The track was the rock side.
Oh wow.
And so we wrote the Crow first, And so I explained the idea to him, and it was all like happening in real time. I was like, damn, this would perfectly encapsulate the record and the country and all that. And so we wrote The Crow first, and then we wrote the Mockingbird, and Jordan put them together, and then that like capped off the record.
Dang, that's
so it was
cool.
the last song to make the record.
That's a
so
cherry
kind
on
of
top,
happened
man.
on accident.
That's
Dude,
sick.
my jam is radio song. I text you about this, man. Dude. I can't quit that song, dude. I just the polar opposite and the way that but it's still mega melodic. Dude. Like even your rock stuff is mega melodic, like listening. You know what I'm trying to say? That makes sense?
Yeah, sure.
It's not so rock that it's like, okay, he's just doing this to be different. It still has like a
it
smooth
has a
commercial country
shine to it. Yeah, I mean, because I found that like that's how all of us, but that's how I learned to write songs, and like
1,000%.
it's just fun. I work a lot with David Garcia and like digging into the rock and roll parts and stuff and making the music sonically very rock and roll, but I don't know how to write that, type of lyric. So it's still over a shiny country lyric melody, and it's going to always be like that,
Yeah, which turned out to be a great representation of you, man, and your work and how you do things and kind of the lifestyle.
Yeah, you're shining, but you don't make a lot of sense.
No doubt.
I do think like everybody has, their, like, I hope that I still get to put out tons of records after this, but that's going to always be the one that if people, I hope, that if people have never heard of me and somebody has, to be like, go listen to this and it will perfectly explain, who he is. Cause it really is, I think that I will forever change, but this record, it will be the one that like it will always define who I am, or like just as an artist.
Do you feel, I was out on the road with Luke this past year, and honestly, it was mega hard. It was hard for me, man. And it was hard for me because I'm a home guy. Like, are you a home guy, or do you enjoy the road?
I'm a home guy.
You're a home guy.
Yeah.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, actually, 10 times more than what I'm talking about. I only did it for 1 year.
Dude, it's been a very, very taxing on me, and I haven't like spoken to it a lot, and this is kind of getting into what I went through a couple months ago.
Sure. No, dude. Hey, look.
And you speak about what you want to, and you don't speak about what you don't want to.
No. I had a couple months ago.
That kind of felt like baiting, and I didn't mean to.
Dude, trust me. I'm completely okay with talking about all this. A couple months ago, it was coming up on the 1 year anniversary of the bus wreck, and I just gotten like through like the summer grind or whatever, and I'd taken a break from drinking, which was, I think, had a lot to do with it, because I wasn't necessarily what you'd say like medicating.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I didn't really know that I was even doing that, but I'd taken a couple months off, and then, dude, out of nowhere, twice in 1 week, I had a panic attack for the first time, and I didn't. It wasn't induced by anything really. I just had one, and one was on the golf course, and one was like at night.
Course.
Yeah, I like was
Terrifying,
walking off the tee box, and I just had this like, it felt like somebody just like punched me right in the chest.
Yeah.
I was fine, and then I immediately thought that I was having a heart attack.
Yeah,
and I didn't know. I thought it felt real, and like my heart rate went through the roof, and it was like palpitating, and I kept losing my breath, and I've learned that it was a panic attack. But anyway, and then I had another one like a week later, and that's the only two that I've had. But I credited a lot of that to the wreck and the trauma that came from that, and everything around all that, and like not processing it the right way.
Totally.
And because the wreck happened, and then by the time I got to where I could like move around and like all my injuries and stuff got better, I mean, like 3 weeks later after the wreck, I got married.
Yeah.
And then the week after that was CMA week. And then we went from the CMA Awards to the airport, flew to Thailand for our honeymoon, got back, it was the holidays, and then after that, I went back on the road. So I never really like had time to process all that. So I think a lot of it was that. But I went to On-Site, which I'm sure you guys have probably heard of, and it was amazing. And I did a 3-day intensive like trauma therapy thing where I was 18 hours of therapy and over the course of 3 days. And
is this right after the record? Or is this recently? Is this the canceling of the shows thing?
This was right after the canceling the shows.
Okay, gotcha.
This was why I canceled the shows. I haven't, but I haven't told a lot of people, but I just haven't had a platform to really tell people. And I'm not the kind of guy to video myself and talk about the whole thing.
Sure.
So, anyway, and I got in there and I started talking about it, and I just through talking about stuff, I was like, and I don't love being on the road all year and playing 80, 90 shows a year. And I kind of, that ball started rolling, and I started talking about it and about how much it's affected me and my mental health. And everybody is different, because guys that are like road dogs and they love it.
Yeah. Born for it.
I got into this artist thing so reluctantly, or just so like through a back door. I didn't move here with stars in my eyes.
No, I remember you talking. Yeah.
And so and then once I started, it was like I couldn't stop because I was having success, and like I strike while the iron's hot. I kept saying that, you know what I mean? And it finally, dude, I just got burnt. And so I'm still gonna play shows, but I'm just not gonna play as many in the future, and it's gonna be a little more systematic, I guess is what you call it. Yeah. So to answer your question, I'm a home guy, and I've learned that I'm always going to play shows, and I love playing shows, but it got to a point where it was too much for me. And I think that was just as much a cause of my anxiety as the trauma from the bus
Listen, man, good for you for figuring out your journey and recognizing, as a grown man with a family now, well, not family, but you got family. You're married, and good for you for recognizing what it makes your heart beat. You know what I mean? And what the priority is. And not that the music, we obviously know you love music. We obviously know you love playing, but it's good to come into your, honestly, adulthood. To me, I didn't start really becoming a grown-ass man until I hit about 30. And because music is so young, right? And you have to, when you're pouring yourself into this thing, whether it's writer, artist, or whatever, you just don't have much time to grow up.
Yeah.
And so when you start coming into that later and you're doing it in front of millions of people, it's like, I can't imagine, I say this all the time about being out with Luke, that like the super nice hotels are just as lonely as the rough ones.
Dude, 100%.
Maybe even lonelier.
Yeah.
And man, I'm watching my kids grow up through FaceTime, and look, man, it was fun being out with Luke, and I get that there's a lot of pros to it, but man, you are responsible for your own mental health. And coming from where we're from, that doesn't get talked about.
Nope. Well, you don't know what it is,
and you're a bitch if you try to do something about it. And that's wrong, man.
Yeah, you don't understand anxiety until you deal with it, and get put in a position where it backs you into a corner to where you don't know what the hell is happening.
You have to deal with
it. And then somebody tells you, oh, well, you're dealing with anxiety. You're having an anxiety attack or a panic attack or depression or whatever it is. But dude, I applaud you and commend you for, because it happened to me too, man. Right before I got married, my dad was in the hospital. We were we were married, but we were gonna have a baby. I thought I was down in 30A. I mean, like
yeah, we were at
3 hours,
freaking
dude,
beach house, and this kid's going. I mean, it was serious.
But good on you for recognizing what is happening and being open and a man enough to talk about it and deal with it.
Yeah,
because that is the steps to beating it.
Well, not only that, but it also helps other people who are dealing with it.
Dude, that's the biggest thing is...
I was going to ask you that. What do you feel like if someone is like, you are going through this right now, you're processing and going through this. If somebody's dealing with the same kind of anxiety and trying to process either an event that happened or maybe just a spot in life that they're in, what are some key things you think you could advise as helping get through that stuff?
Get help. Like go to a therapist before you go to a doctor.
Really?
I think so, because the goal is to not get rid of it, because the honest truth is, few people completely overcome it.
Wow.
You need to recognize that you have it, and you need to make it not as big of a deal than you think it is. Because anxiety, what I've learned, is an emotion, just like happiness, jealousy, anger, gratefulness. It's just an emotion, and just like every emotion, it passes. And if you can speak for the anxiety instead of from the anxiety, like,
great point.
Yeah.
if you can recognize it from almost like outside looking in, as opposed to embodying it and saying like, instead of saying I'm an anxious person, to say like I have anxiety is a big difference. And if you can realize it and treat it like a friend and treat it like a passing thing, it
He's
helps.
preaching, dude. He's preaching right now. I like that, dude. That's
You have to tell
serious.
yourself that it's gonna, because I've had it bad since I've gotten help, but the thing is, the two really bad panic attacks that I had that week, I didn't know how to handle it. Of
course.
So it spiraled out of control.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, when I feel it happening, I can just take a second and say it's going to pass. And there's so much to saying it's going to pass. It does so much for you. Like, by the time you're at the end of that thought process, it's already gone. It's hard to explain.
It's dissipating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you have to acknowledge it. You cannot fight it, because it's impossible to fight it, or it's only going to get worse. So you got to roll with it, dude.
I didn't know how, after I had my big one, my episode, I thought I was crazy, bro. I literally asked Jordan. Jordan was sitting with me the whole time, and I was like, is this like straitjacket stuff? Like, am I going to get, seriously, I thought I was.
I did too, especially the second time.
But after talking about it and talking to her about it and telling Dan, and Dan was literally going through the same thing I was going. He was just dealing with it way better than I was. but talking to people about it, it is a way more occurring thing for people than you think it is. It is not a personal. It is personal, but you're not alone in it, man.
Nope. And I just think, the more people are open about it, the more people are going to be open about it. And we're in a time and a season in the world where there's a lot of people having anxiety for a lot of different reasons.
You're right.
Yeah.
And I just think the more you have a community, because you can't go through it alone.
It doesn't make you weak. It's not a signal of a weakness.
No, I don't think
so.
so.
And that's the
At all.
misconception,
No,
I feel like.
At all.
People are nervous about to talk about it, but
that's a stigma, dude. That's
sure.
completely, it's not real. I mean, you can't help it, dude. When I had it on that golf course, I was not worried about anything. I was not thinking about it. Maybe,
That's
of
wild.
course,
Yeah.
subconsciously,
It just
it
snuck
just
up on you.
happened.
Yeah.
And so that's enough to be like, I mean, dude, it just happens to people. And I've had so many people come out of the woodwork that I've known for years to be like, hey, you're not alone. I've actually struggled with this for a long time.
Yeah, man, that's a life-changing occurrence.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That after that, you view things a little different, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thanks for talking about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I didn't mean to drag you through it, but
that's
that's
okay,
a strong.
dude.
That's a strong word.
But good on you. Good on you
Thank
for
you
all
for
that, man. I'm proud
Thank
of
you.
you.
Honestly, man, thanks for coming by.
Dude,
I mean,
I
I
honestly.
got
had
a couple more
blast.
things. I got a couple more things.
Oh, okay.
As a songwriter, this is a question that we.
Bro,
kinda
he's
have
got 5 minutes.
You're
got
good.
it.
You're good.
to- What is? Oh, jumps with the. What is?
You doing the?
You got it. I don't even
forgot
have
we
guitar
told
here.
him. We didn't even
What's
told
the
him about
best?
it yet.
What's the best song written? What's the best country song written that you think there is
Of all time?
Of all time.
Oh God.
Had to put it on you.
You
have a favorite?
No, dude, this is so hard.
Because you're a songwriter. You're a lyricist.
I mean, everybody wants to say he stopped loving her today.
I don't think. I mean, I think so.
He's
Oh,
not
my gosh.
loving her.
Dude, that's
You can
an
go with that one.
insane-
You can go with that. Sorry to drop that bomb on you.
That's I think one of them. This is a very unpopular one, but I think if we pegged it to the last 25 years, I think that Humble and Kind is one of the greatest
Yeah, man.
Shout out Laura McKinnon.
songs
Yeah.
of all time.
Yeah, man.
I swear, I know that's a very unpopular answer,
I like
but
it.
dude,
Nah, that's nice. That's a good one. That's a
Dude.
good answer.
there's something about that song that encompasses so much to me. And I don't even have kids yet. But greatest of all time, always
sure
on my
you won't.
mind, maybe.
Yeah, dude, those are all great. I just had
I
to.
don't
I just
know.
had to ask you because
He stopped loving her today is probably number one, though. That's
Let's stick with Home and Kind. That'll be it. We're gonna make a playlist, so that'll be good.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
of all the people we have.
Okay, cool. I like that.
I like your entry being Humble and Kind.
All right, cool.
I also got to drop this bomb on you.
I'm sure that was important. That thing you had to say, but it's that part of the show for the one that got away.
Ooh.
All right, so we do this thing called The One That Got Away, segment of the show.
Didn't know it was coming. We should have prepped you.
It could be a fish. It could be a cut, a song, getting cut and not making the record. It could be a deer that you shot and got up and walked away because you actually shot him in the horn. What comes to mind when we say, "Hey man, Hardy, what's the one that got away for you?"
I think mine's a deer. It's a deer story.
I love it.
Great.
My dad and I were you can hunt over corn in Mississippi, and let's just say some time ago, maybe before, I don't know if it was legal at this point or not.
Here we go again with the legal.
We had cut over the pines that were behind our pond, and it had grown up thick, but not thick enough where you couldn't see a deer walking through it. And we were filling up our feeders one time. We would always take a gun when we were filling up feeders, because you never know.
Sure.
And we made a loop around this cutover and got back up to the shed, and we were getting ready to load up or park the Kubota, whatever we had at the time. And we look at the cutover we just drove around, and there was the widest, most giant buck at probably 100 yards that I have ever seen in my life.
That's when you see him too.
Yeah, and me and my dad, we didn't spook him, but we got him up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we sat there without a gun, and we just watched this deer just ease through this. We didn't even have a gun in the truck, dude. We didn't even have one in the deer camp.
Man.
And me and my dad just sat there and watched this buck slow walk through a.
He didn't spook.
No, just a 10-acre cutover, just slow. And it was at 150 yards, and it was everything. He probably had I swear to God, he had like 28 inside. He was a giant deer, and we just watched him.
Did you ever see him again?
Never on a camera. Never. Nobody ever killed him.
They're ghosts, dude.
Biggest deer we've ever had. Kind of the same thing on our property in West Tennessee. Is we got a picture of. I mean, dude, he had to be 180, 190.
Yeah, he's a 180.
Giant.
Oh my God!
You get one picture. We never saw him on the hoof.
Middle of the night.
Yeah,
never got another.
Dude,
picture.
I know a guy that killed a buck, and this ain't even that outlandish.
He's checking to see if he's got time to tell
I
the
just
story.
want to stay and talk about deer. But I know a guy that killed a buck in Mississippi, or know about a guy that killed a buck. It was like 7 or 17 miles from where a guy was hunting him, and he killed him that far away. I think it was only 7. But
that's still that's a haul.
I just think about my giant that I'm hunting is at our deer camp. Mm-hmm. And our other 300-acre property, this buck is only on 60 acres. We only hunt 60 acres. That's always the case, though, right? Like you have some giant on.
Sure.
And then we don't have anything on the really good property.
Yeah, same as us.
Yeah. But that is 7 miles. That would be like if I was hunting a stand at the other place, which seems like so far away.
Yeah, man.
And I would see my buck from the other spot walking out.
Bizarre, man. It happens.
You know the huff buck that the kid, the songwriter from Nashville.
Oh yeah,
killed?
yeah.
They had a deer. They had pictures of that deer 8 miles from where Dustin shot him.
You get one thing on your mind, dog.
It just goes to show the deer in the run,
undefeated, dude. That's damn sure.
Undefeated.
Hey man, I know we went over. We're just gonna keep it extended this time, dude. We gotta do it again at some point.
I love you.
We could sit here and talk forever. Hey, thanks for being open. Thanks for being humble. Thanks for being humbly kind, Hardy. Thanks for being humbly kind. Hey, thank y'all for hanging out with us today in God's country, and we'll see you next time.
Yep.